Will?
Antonio.
Yes, Uncle Antonio.
So when we last spoke ahead of season 2, we were speaking about the idea that Will was going to meet this long-lost relative. And we just last week met Uncle Antonio.
Yes.
I was curious if you could talk to me sort of a bit about what that was like for you playing this new side of Will, who's getting to sort of open himself up more and be more vulnerable with who is honestly a complete stranger at this point.
Yeah.
And connecting to his roots, connecting to his culture. What has that been like for you to play?
It was a lot to sort of think about because I would, I could only try to place myself in the character's shoes, and I was like, this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's the first time he's meeting an actual living family member and someone that could have a lot of answers to a lot of questions that Will has. And so we thought, like, when we were writing it and coming up with the idea of introducing this character, it's like it'd be great if Will could really pursue this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also really scary. Is he going to be let down? Is this person going to have any real answers? Who are they? Because it is a stranger.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to sort of, when we have that first scene when he finally connects with Antonio over the phone, and then he's, in Atlanta at night holding Betty, just hoping that it goes well. It's almost like he's back in the foster care system, hoping that this adoption goes, that someone takes him in.
Mm-hmm.
It's that fear, the unknown, and the anxiety of it all. And so Antonio, played by John Ortiz, so beautifully, just such a open, you can feel the love that he has for Will is really special. And the fact that he's able to actually bring some real pieces of Will's sort of past, bringing a record that belonged to Lucy, her favorite album. Like, these are gems for somebody like Will, who has zero information about his family, about his mom, about his childhood, and even the connection, to his culture, being from Puerto Rico and his mom being from there. And it was really fun and exciting and nerve-wracking of for this character to see how this is going to go. And I think for him, it can go a lot of ways. And I think he's hopeful, but he's also really scared.
You're looking to find conflict in any story, and when we meet Antonio, he is, as you said, he's the source of warmth. He's this light in Will's life that he hasn't had before. But nothing's ever quite as perfect as it seems. Can we expect some conflict when we see Antonio again?
Will there be conflict? Without a doubt. You need to have that in a show. That's what keeps it going. This is a new person he's meeting who they do have history, and again, he's so warm, Antonio, and so inviting. I think there'll be stuff that comes up for him that he's got to navigate and figure out, how do I navigate this with someone who's new, whose family. The feelings of betrayal and abandonment really surface for Will. And so there's going to be some conflict for sure. I can't spoil too much, but yeah.
Name's Trent. Will Trent.
Stupid. Real stupid.
So let's move on to episode 7, which is an episode that sort of takes Will a bit out of his element. Him and Faith, they go to this wedding.
Yeah.
All hell breaks loose. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, Will is invited to this wedding with Faith. He really doesn't want to go. He's really sort of begrudgingly agreeing to do it, but she needs him there. And so he's going to show up for his partner. And so he goes, and it takes a real turn. Seeing Will in an awkward position, seeing him uncomfortable is fun for audiences. It's fun to watch. And so we get to sort of play with that in this upcoming episode. All the meanwhile, he's finally out of his 3-piece suit, but he's in another sort of tuxedo look that he ends up embracing. He creates this sort of persona to be able to get through the wedding, which is really great.
The 3-piece suit, it's so much a part of Will's identity.
Yeah.
And now we see him in this white tux. It's very James Bond-esque.
Yeah.
How does that sort of change how he's navigating the scene and how he's presenting to all these people at the wedding?
It's strange for him. Like you said, that 3-piece suit is so much a part of his identity that when he's sort of, again, he's someone that needs control. And so when he's sort of having to put on this new look for the wedding, he's not comfortable with it. But Faith says a great line of but you look like James Bond. And then he sort of really gets excited by that. But he ends up having, he creates a persona to get through this experience, which we end up having a lot of fun with, and it sort of plays a role throughout that episode in that case in the story that we're dealing with. The good thing is, yes, he can be tough and he can be sort of off-putting at times and awkward, but I think he also knows how to have fun in his own way. And so this episode was, I think we wanted to have it be playful yet grounded.
We know heading into this episode that among the guests at this wedding is Faith's son, Jeremy.
Yep.
How does that sort of change how Will and Faith, who are separated for a large part of this episode, how they navigate this situation knowing what's at stake?
Well, the stakes get really high. It's a really dangerous situation. And all the meanwhile, which is really interesting, what's been happening throughout the season for Will, is he's having these flashbacks. He's seeing his younger version of himself, 12-year-old Will, doesn't know why. He's seeing these images of young Will sort of watching him, like pretty much haunting him in a way. And that's something also that comes into play in this episode, which is really interesting. And that's something that we want to pay off in the season, and that will as we come upon it. But it's going to be a really great reveal. But yeah, with Jeremy involved, you know, his partner's son, stakes are really high.